You will spend 0 seconds worrying about the billions of years before you were born. You will spend a lifetime afraid of the years after you die. Same non-existence, wildly different reaction, and there's a real reason for that gap. I've been asking myself this question for a long time. Here's what you'll actually walk away with. Not a comforting platitude, but the specific psychological asymmetry researchers have documented, and why your brain treats before and after as two completely different things, even though logically they're identical. Start over 2,000 years ago. A Roman philosopher named Lucretius made an argument that still hasn't been fully answered. He pointed out that the time before your birth and the time after your death are, structurally, the exact same kind of non-existence. You weren't suffering, weren't waiting, weren't experiencing anything at all before you were born. For the same reason, you won't experience anything after you die. If non-existence after death is something to fear, Lucretius argued, non-existence before birth should be equally fearsome. And yet, almost nobody loses sleep over the fact that they didn't exist in 1850. That imbalance is now called the symmetry argument, and philosophers have been wrestling with it ever since. A more recent philosopher named Thomas Nagel took the puzzle further in a widely read 1970 essay simply titled Death. Nagel argued the asymmetry isn't a logical error at all. It reflects something real about how humans are built to think about time. We treat the future as the domain that belongs to us, full of experiences we might have had, opportunities cut short. The past, by contrast, feels fixed, finished, and not really ours to lose in the same way. Death cancels a future you were entitled to expect. Not being born yet never canceled anything, because there was no you yet with a claim on that time at all. Here's where it gets interesting, because this asymmetry isn't just adult philosophical hair splitting. It shows up early, and it shows up cross-culturally. Psychologists Natalie Emmons and Deborah Kellerman studied how young children intuitively reason about existence before birth, comparing children from urban America to children from an indigenous Shuar community in Ecuador with very different religious backgrounds. Across both groups, children showed a strong, spontaneous tendency to believe some form of themselves, thoughts, desires, awareness, existed in some way before they were born, independent of what they'd actually been taught. That intuition wasn't purely a cultural download. It looked like something closer to a default setting in how young minds model their own existence over time. This is the actionable part worth sitting with. That instinct, treating before as somehow softer and less threatening than after, isn't something you consciously chose. It's a built-in asymmetry showing up in children too young to have absorbed complex religious doctrine, and it's shaping how you relate to your own mortality right now, whether you've ever noticed it or not. So, where were you before you were born? In the most literal, unglamorous sense. Not nowhere in any mystical sense, and not waiting anywhere either. The atoms that eventually became you were already here, cycling through stars, oceans, plants, other organisms for billions of years before assembling briefly into the specific configuration that is you right now. The information in your DNA is a direct, unbroken copy of a chain of successful ancestors stretching back further than written history, further than agriculture, back to the earliest single-celled life. Every single link in that chain survived long enough to pass its information forward. You are not a random accident inserted into empty time. You're the current endpoint of an unbroken transmission that never once failed, not one time, across billions of years. That's not nothing. That's a genuinely staggering continuity most people never actually stop to picture. You will spend 0 seconds worrying about the billions of years before you were born. Maybe the honest lesson isn't to start fearing that time the way Lucretius suggested. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe the same clear-eyed calm you already feel about the time before you existed is available for the time after too, if you can catch your own asymmetry in the act.